So like, can I get my car back now?
One more ride.
What you mean?
My name is Nikolai. I like to film and build cool cars. If you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you stay up to date. We're gonna learn a whole lot about cars and see some pretty cool stuff. Let's jump into the video.
What's up, guys? I'm standing in front of this 2016 BMW 550i. It's a very beautiful car, and I have Raymond here, so good to have you, man. So go ahead and tell us all about the car and what have you done to it, your mods, how's the car been treating you, everything like that.
All right, so as he said, this is my F10 550i M Sport. It's got mainly cosmetics, an M Sport front lip, side skirts, rear side skirts, diffuser, spoiler, side view mirrors, as well as my wheels. Performance mods, arm intake, RVG catless downpipe, boot mod 3 tune. It's on stage 2. I occasionally run E30, but that's rare and far between. I also have an XHP stage 3 flash for my transmission.
I think it's like a really nice OEM plus build. It's definitely a very beautiful car, and I think especially in this color. So if on camera, it might actually look black, but this car isn't black.
The reason why I bought it in this color, it was just mainly because I always wanted a black car, but at the same time, I always felt that black cars were also kind of boring. So I wanted something with a little bit more dimension. So this thing's occasionally a really dark blue in the sun, but it's mainly still just a black car.
Yeah, so if you saw this color out like in direct sunlight, it is a very nice deep blue. And I think, you know, like the black kidney grills, the black, you know, splitter here in the front, the side skirts, and then the rear spats, I think it's a very good look. And also you have black side mirrors as well. And then are these headlights custom or is that factory?
So these headlights are the factory xenon headlights. However, the housing is painted in a gloss black.
I think it's a good looking car. So now let's move more into like engine mods. So what all have you done to get it to, you know, a higher horsepower level and just things like that? And also how is like the performance mods to the engine change the way it feels and drives?
Like I said, it only has an intake and a downpipe as well as a tune. That's really all you need to get 3.5, 0 to 60. The tune does get it to where the car is extremely torquey. It runs really well on the highway, especially when you're going at Autobahn speeds. It feels, this is truly the ultimate Autobahn cruiser. The XHP flash makes it to where the car shifts a lot quicker than stock, and it feels amazing.
Nice, nice. So it is, you know, the ZF 8-speed auto in this car. It's a very, very fast shifting transmission. I think it sounds incredible when it shifts, and a lot of cars do actually use this. So, you know, it's not just BMW, you know, like Aston Martin, Dodge, those brands do use this transmission because it's fast, it's reliable. I mean, it's pretty good. So how's your experience been with it?
In my 8 months of ownership of this 550i, I haven't really had any issues with powertrain or with the transmission. I did have an issue where I did have a bad tune that would cause the car to uncontrollably misfire, but that's been sorted out. The car does kind of blow some blue smoke, but I also kind of fixed that problem. I wouldn't really say fix, but I masked it by getting some thicker oil in there. It pulls really nicely.
So now with all of those mods, how much horsepower and torque do you think this car's putting down?
I do have approximately 620 crank as well as 650 foot-pounds of torque. But according to the dyno sheets I've been given, it's about 520 wheel and 550 or 60 foot-pounds of torque.
So now we're on the interior of the car, and it is so beautiful in here. Being a BMW and a 5 Series, it's very luxury in here, and you can definitely see that. So Raymond actually has this custom steering wheel here with the Alcantara and leathers, like with this blue stripe here. I think it looks really good, especially with these blue paddle shifters and then this diamond stitching on the floor mats. I think it's a really good looking interior, but Raymond, what do you think of it?
I try to go for a more VIP build. Everything here is relatively OEM. There's really not much done here besides my steering wheel and my paddle shifters, as well as my Alcantara armrest. I also have this Apple CarPlay that has been retrofitted in here, as well as my trim being replaced. It used to be a really dark, I think it was called a charcoal wood or ebony wood or something like that. However, I changed it out for piano gloss black, and believe it or not, there is actually a difference between piano gloss black and just gloss black. This is actual wood that has been sanded down to a level that's really smooth and then painted over. However, piano or just regular gloss black is just black plastic.
So does it look any different, or is it just like more of a luxury just to say it's wood? You know?
I think, to be quite honest, I think that the clarity, like there's less orange peel when it comes to piano black. However, I really don't think there is much of a difference besides just the way that the materials feel.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people hate on the newer cars for having piano black on the interior, but in my honest opinion, I like piano black. I think it contrasts well with like black leather, and then also having like silver trim throughout. I think it looks really good. And you know, even like the classic BMW over here shifter, it's a really interesting look. And I do like all the tech in this car. So this car has lane assist, it's got heads up display. Is there anything else that I'm missing that it has?
Lane departure warning. It also has parking assist, adjustable bolsters, heated and cooled seats. This car has NBT Evo ID4. The new one is all the way up to ID7. But to be quite honest, despite the fact that there's been some years since this thing was new, there's really not too much of a difference. Well, there is a big difference. However, I don't really see much of a difference in function, as they pretty much do the exact same thing, but the interface is slightly different. There is ID6 and ID5. I rarely see ID5. I do know ID6 is on the newest Supras, as well as some newer 6 series that were pretty much at the end of their life cycle. This thing has essentially everything that you could possibly think of that a modern car would have, and then some.
Let's go and take the car for a drive where we'll really be able to feel all of the torque, all the horsepower, and all the mods. It's gonna be really fun. So let's go and take the car for a drive now.
Sport Plus, the faster the car shifts.
Okay.
And also, it also depends on which mode you're at. If you're at Comfort Plus and you're trying to shift, the car's not going to shift as fast because, you know,
it'll adjust for what you want, basically.
Yeah.
So like just doing like a light acceleration here, like nothing crazy, just a regular acceleration as if you're daily driving. It's a smooth transmission, you know, being in Comfort Plus.
And you could also put on Eco Pro, so the RPMs are a little bit on the lower side. So, I mean, the ride's a little bit quieter.
So what's the difference between like an Eco Pro or like the standard like that
Eco Pro is are settings that are configured to where it would be better for fuel efficiency, while Comfort Plus is strictly for your for comfort and suspension.
Gotcha.
So your ride isn't going to be as hard, but even then, even in Sport Plus, the ride's still pretty smooth and you don't really feel as much anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, even right off the bat, like you just notice this car, even though it might look big from the outside, it does not feel big driving it. And I haven't done anything, you know, crazy with it yet, but even just feeling it here, it does not feel as big as I thought I would expect this thing to be. You know, from the outside, it's such a big car, but then you get into here now and it's like, you know, it actually feels a little bit more planted than I was expecting, just like as a, you know, regularly driving it here.
One of my favorite things about this interior is that in terms of interior ergonomics, is everything here is a lot more driver oriented, as in the center stack is actually has a slight angle, is actually faced towards the driver, and pretty much every single button for, I guess, just driving is also leaned towards the driver.
Definitely. And it's not something you could expect in like a luxury car. You know, typically they're a little bit more open. It's not everything like driver centric, but this one definitely has all that you'd want in the sports car, but yet it's a 5 Series, which is cool. I love how this car is so sporty, yet it's such a luxury sedan.
And not only that, this car at the time of it being, I guess, released was considered by many journalists to have the best interior build quality and use of materials. Until this day, a lot of people still say that BMW still has the best materials and craftsmanship amongst the German 3. Although some can argue that the other interiors may look better, I personally am a BMW nut, so I personally prefer BMW over anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would even agree with you there. I think definitely BMW takes the cake there, but I mean, it's all honestly personal preference, and I don't want to say that as a statement or a fact, because at the end of the day, it's all subjective, and it's really what do you enjoy the most. But from what I've experienced, BMW interiors tend to last a very long time. I see a lot of Mercedes, they start to get really squeaky even when they're new, but I don't see that with BMW too often, which is nice.
The car has 5 different drive modes. It has Eco Pro, Comfort Plus, Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus.
So let's go ahead and kick it into Sport here.
Alright, so when you go to Sport, you're gonna have to press this little button right here.
Yeah.
You press it to Sport, and there's also Sport Plus.
Oh wow, that was the automatic just downshifting like that.
Yeah.
That changes it a lot, huh?
Yeah.
I love the sound it makes when you let off the throttle. That is beautiful.
Yep. I will say that as a driver, like when you're driving the car, it is kind of hard to judge how fast you're going. But one thing I find it kind of odd about BMW automatics is that if you code it to where it takes the we're able to rev it up to the rev limiter, it doesn't really like it. It sounds kind of weird and honestly feels kind of broken. So I kind of avoid doing that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have it in manual mode, you have, for the most part, most control over it. But I'm just in love with the way this engine sounds. Those shifts are incredible. I mean, it really just goes. Like, it reminds me a lot of the Supra, even though it doesn't feel like, driving-wise, it doesn't feel like the Supra, but I love that there's similar transmissions. I mean, they're both ZF 8-speed autos, but they're definitely tuned differently. And it's just, I love how, I think with the ZF, the way it makes the car feel is the sense that it just keeps wanting to push and push and push, and it just never stops. Like you said, this is a really good Autobahn cruiser, so it's going to want to just keep going and keep pushing, and it's just, I love it for that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly too sure how bad drone is on the camera, but actually in around 50 miles an hour on Eco Pro, the car is pretty much dead silent. So
like, we don't really hear the exhaust right now, but if I were to downshift and give it some gas, yeah, you definitely hear it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's not the fastest thing out there, but I sure do love having it.
I love it. Oh, it's incredible. It's such a good sounding car. And this just feels so plain. You've definitely done a well job with this car. I love the way it feels, you know, even just being on lowering springs, it's an excellent handling car, and it just feels like it puts the power down, which is awesome.
I noticed
it hooks. It almost wanted to spin at the top end.
Yeah,
I felt it wanted to do it, but it didn't.
Yeah, with the Michelin Pilot Super Sports that I had, for some reason I had a really hard time catching traction.
Love the way it sounds.
Yeah, I do plan on getting another exhaust setup, but I don't know if you guys can hear it, but you can literally hear the Continentals catching rocks in the brake.
Oh yeah, they're so sticky.
They're really sticky.
It probably won't show up on camera, but they're very sticky. So let's go ahead and do a rolling launch here. So get it going and then launch it. You gotta love that ZF. Were you not expecting that?
No, I'm rarely ever in the passenger seat. BMW turbos are really built to spool up as soon as they can at low RPMs. So
the turbos are so loud. I don't know if they were even coming up on camera, but that is, I'm enjoying the sound. Like, this is such a refined exhaust.
It has a really smooth power delivery.
Yeah, it's almost so smooth. I would argue, out of all reviews that I've done on my channel, and you guys should definitely check out all the other car reviews that I have on this channel, this is the smoothest accelerating car. No other car that I've driven on the channel, I would say, gets up to speed without you feeling it. Like, and that's a good and a bad thing, I guess. It's good because this car is so planted and so smooth that the power delivery just delivers the power so smooth that you don't even notice how fast you're going. But it does feel slightly muted, I guess you could say, because it is still a luxury car. But even then, I think the mods that you've done to this car really enhance the performance and still make it an extremely fun car to drive. And I would almost argue that this could be like the best daily in, you know, this sub, what, $40,000, $50,000 price range, which is a pretty interesting car. I think definitely to daily drive.
So you really like the short shift this thing.
Oh, I think I'm not used to a transmission that's that fast. Let's try to let the windows down. Let's see what happens. I think these mics will cut out any wind noise. This thing is so much louder with the windows down. Oh my god! I hope this comes through the camera because this sounds incredible. I'm loving this. This is so much louder with the windows down. So let's go ahead and try and launch this thing and see how it feels. I'm sure, because you're not being graced by the steering wheel.
I never.
It is so insane.
It was a lot quicker than I thought it was.
Yeah, it is. You know, but here's what I love about this car. We got the windows up now. Put it back. Let's go back into Comfort Plus.
I'm gonna put on Eco Pro.
For Eco Pro, and you don't hear anything. It's totally quiet. We've got ambient lighting. It's like a VIP luxury car now. It's some good stuff. I mean, let's be real. Not a lot of cars can go from being that aggressive to now this comfortable and this smooth. So I really like this car, and if you guys enjoyed this car, please do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We have a whole lot of other awesome car content on the channel, other car reviews. We also have a Mark V Supra, which I think you guys will really enjoy that video. So definitely check out all the cool videos on the channel. We'll see you in the next one.